play in. I think this is my favorite theory. My favorite theory I've heard to date on anything.
Okay.
I don't know the fine details of his wound, but I don't really understand how his brain was not damaged at all. And as you say in the season finale podcast, the only way to stop the zombieism is to destroy the brain. So we know that, and we know that Jenner has like identified the portion of the brain that the zombie virus infects, right, to reanimate people. So, also on the show, zombies are frequently taken out by a knife stabbing through their eyes. One would think that a gunshot might do the same trick, or also the doctor now has a bunch of practice from his treatment of Father Gabriel's infection, so maybe there's something there. But this is the thing that I love. Carl could potentially be missing the part of his brain that can zombify, so this virus might not be able to fully infect and kill him. What do you think about that?
I'd give it an A for effort.
I would give it a Z for Z Nation if they went that way.
I was just thinking, like, because what does more damage to The Walking Dead? The idea that you can survive of zombie bite, they're no longer instantly fatal, or killing off the successor to the storyline of The Walking Dead.
Right.
Like, it's kind of, and I get it, like, if it's like this once in a lifetime, like you're missing the prefrontal cortex node B that's behind the one's right eye, like, but no, I just think that, like, when it comes to gunshots, really look at a skull and where the brain is at in that skull, and realize that aiming a bullet at your temple is most likely just going to blow your eyeballs and sinuses out and leave your brain intact.
Yeah.
Lots of people survived self-inflicted gunshot wounds like that and just made themselves into really unfortunate Metallica video versions of themselves. So, like, I think that's what happened. Like, it just went out one side and blew out, and it didn't even touch his brain. But now that's the thing, like, that kind of plot line to do and not do damage to your overall arc is like you're a brain surgeon level of writing, right? Is the Walking Dead writing room staffed with brain surgeons?
No.
I don't think so. So, like, that would take a lot of finesse and vision and panache to pull off, and they have none of those things.
For sure. Okay, Hannah from DC says, I have a coworker who is convinced, and I don't believe for a second this is your coworker, Hannah. I got this friend who wants to get something out of their butt. I have a coworker who's convinced that nothing will happen to Carl as a result of his walker bite. My friend's reasoning comes from the first/second seasons. Dr. Jenner tells Rick, and then Rick tells the others, we're all infected. If the survivors have the disease already, how does getting bit make a difference? It's like someone injecting with the flu, but you already have the flu. Thoughts?
Oh, that's a good...
Yeah, so, I mean, this is something we've talked about a long time ago when this issue came up, and it's not so much like the bite itself that kills you, but like the infection surrounding the bite, because we're talking about like rotting corpses. And you look at like what happened to Gabriel this season, right? That's something that we both said, hey, this has no precedent in the Walking Dead universe, but also makes total real world sense, because any kind of open cuts you have or anything, you get that rotting flesh material in there, and it will infect you and potentially kill you in a world with very little medicine.
Yeah.
Or health treatments of any kind. So it's not about like, oh, we're like the zombie bite is infecting us with the zombie thing. It's just infecting them in general.
Right.
And killing them, and then that allows the zombie infection to take over their body.
Exactly. Yeah, that's always how I understood it too.
Yeah. But that is not to say that nothing will happen to Carl as a result of the walker bite. He will still, if precedent is to be believed, die from this bite.
Yeah, he should.
For all the reasons.
Because that's the thing, is like there's two zombie viruses, I guess. There's the zombie virus that's in everyone that you will die. Any death that does not result in trauma to the brain, you become a zombie, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the, I guess, new to science zombie bite virus that's just like a very bad staph infection that is like antibiotic resistant. You can't cure like a zombie bite because it's just so fucking septic and it doesn't respond to antibiotics. That's not what makes you a zombie. That just kills you.
Right. And then that zombie virus that's already in you takes over and reambulates you.
Right. Hey, this week's wrap-up podcast is sponsored by Sonos. who are the maker of just a really awesome wireless sound speaker system. You can do it to provide whole house audio for like music and dinner parties and just general listening to podcasts. It also does that. Or you can set them up to do a wireless 5.1 sound on your TV. It's the world is your oyster.
Or better yet, you could do both.
Or you could
like
do both.
I did. Yeah.
And it's pretty awesome. Like I've been using a lot, we've been shifting into more of a downtime mode. And so it's been lots of like lazy mornings making breakfast. And it's really cool to watch like a Twitch stream in the living room. But I got my Sonos speaker in the kitchen. It's pumping the sound in there. So I don't have to like shake the whole house. It's been great for parties and stuff. It's been great I've been doing some basement projects. And I've been listening to podcasts over my Sonos speaker.
Also, you got the Christmas cooking marathon coming up,
right?
And I know you are not going to want to have a hand free to try and control.
Well, I might want to have. I desperately want a hand free. You will not
have a
hand free.
But
I got one up a turkey and the other basing a ham. What am I going to do?
Right. That's where Sonos One comes in.
What I'm going to do when I got Christmas music playing and it's rocking like up tempo Christmas, and then suddenly someone comes in with "Mary, Did You Know?" That nothing can kill a Christmas party faster than "Mary, Did You Know?" And I got to switch track. I got my hand up a turkey, basing a ham. What do I do, Jim?
You hopefully have already pre-purchased a Sonos One, and you have that in your kitchen, because then you can just speak to you can use Alexa to say, "Hey, play the next song, skip track.
Right.
Please, for the love of God and baby Jesus, skip track."
Yeah.
Without freeing up any
hands.
It's
Paul McCartney's Wonderful Christmas Time. Oh my God, next track. And you just keep doing it until you get back to the good stuff.
Absolutely. Makes it super easy and super convenient to control a lot more than just your music. It has like home automation features and all kinds. Anything you can do with the Amazon Alexa service.
It's so like you will find awesome uses for it. Like you might be in the shower and you want to fast forward to turn up the volume a little bit. It's a game changer. Being able to audibly control your speaker system, and you can do it for so much more. It can tell you movie times. It can order stuff off Amazon. It can tell you if you need a coat when you're going out.
I found out you can use it as an intercom to talk between, like, say a basement and a different part of your house. Yeah.
Wow.
Kind of sweet, honestly.
How does that? I'm curious. How do you do that?
I haven't tried it, but apparently Cheapy D from the CADcast has, and he loves it. So.
All right. Well, now I got a new way to harass my family.
Right.
Never have to leave the couch again. If you never want to leave the couch again, you want to get an awesome deal, Sonos has got a special for our listeners. Jim, tell them about it.
Yeah, right now they're offering the listeners of The Watching Dead 10% off one order of $2,500 or less for any product on Sonos.com. You can't combine this offer with other discounts or promotions, but it's for a limited time only, so act soon. And if you want to do that, you can use the promo code WATCHING10. It's capital WATCHING 10 at Sonos.com to receive this offer. Okay, let's get to the actual best argument I've heard for Carl not dying. And Tom was the first one to write in. There were many people who did, so thanks to everyone. But Tom in PA, Pennsylvania, says, "I hope you get a chance to read this before the wrap-up podcast because I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter. I'll preface by saying I think the two of you are more than likely correct. Carl is a goner, and this is a power move by the AMC execs in response to contractual bickering in the past. But the general guideline on this show has been that people don't die from walker bites. I don't know how people can say that. People already carrying the walker gene trait. Instead, people die from the infection associated with having rotting, decaying matter entering an open wound."
That's what we just said.
Yeah. Yes, which to me says they do die from zombie bites, but okay. Reasonable enough. In a post-apocalyptic world lacking in doctors to clean and close those wounds and medicines to fight the infection, people pass away, reincarnating after as a walker. Taking that logic just a small step forward, Father Gabriel is currently fighting just such an infection. While he did not get bit, he did seemingly have rotting, decaying matter enter an open wound when he wore the Walker Guts disguise. Thus, one could expect him to pass away, reincarnate, yada, yada, yada. Except he hasn't, and he is not. Sure, he's still in bad shape, but the symptoms no longer seem to be progressing. Is it possible that they are setting up a scenario where the former Hilltop Sanctuary doctor successfully put together a combination of herbs and spices, for lack of a better term,
to
combat the infection? Yes, this
herbal medicine.
If so, the remedy has conveniently been discovered just in the nick of time for Carl to be saved in the biggest hoodwink of all time. This, of course, could carry a whole slew of disturbing ramifications. It would be another instance of the repeated disrespect shown towards fans in the story. More importantly, though, it would completely downgrade the zombie threat in the world as a whole.
That's what I'm saying. What does more damage in the long run?
This is disgusting to me. This makes me viscerally upset because I think this is where they're going. I honestly, at this point, think, what other purpose does Gabriel... If you think about, okay, Gabriel's talking about, I need to find my purpose, right? Like, how do I give my life in a meaningful way? And he's continually been saved over and over and over again. This could actually be it. This could be the thing right here. And I feel like the writers are setting this up.
You're right.
Why else have Gabriel get sick in this moment?
So...
Why feature it so heavily?
So why does this make you angry? Because you think it's just horseshit? Because like at what point because I don't want to fall in the trap of... Yes,
because I think this is Glenn Dumpster 2.0 all to the nth degree. I think this is entirely completely fucked up if they go again with this idea of someone is definitely dead by all the rules of the universe and then we're going to miraculously save them.
Yeah. I mean,
they learned nothing, and it pisses me off.
The only difference would be this would be Glenn Dumpster with the potential to completely change the laws of the universe.
Sure.
Which, again, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I feel like the difficulty of pulling something like that off without it feeling like a fan jerk is so high that it's not worth thinking about. Like, what if Scott Gimple nails the landing on this thing and this transforms the nature of the universe and they fully hand it off to Chan? I don't know. I don't know. Like, certainly, like, Carl not dying next season, this next half season would change how I feel about the show going forward, but also... them pulling the rug out from under our feet one more time to get us talking about it. Yeah, I just don't see how I can trust them to round that corner and still be engaged in the story.
Right. It's offensive from a naked manipulation perspective. It's also offensive from... So think about what would have to happen here for things to transpire the way they have so far and for Carl to live. They would have to keep secret, at the very least, from Chandler Riggs' father, that they are going to kill off, that they're not actually going to kill off Carl. And barring that, you have to say, okay, they are so trying to manipulate their audience that they're having people's families, actors' families, lie openly about what's going to happen
that's
here.
That's the thing. I kind of admire that part. Like, the commitment to, in this day, to, like, keep that spoiler a lot like hidden.
But that's not hiding it. That's completely blatantly going the other way and saying, no, we're absolutely not doing this, when in fact they are.
Yeah.
To me, that's fundamentally more offensive than no comment.
Yeah, I mean, like, my nature wants me to play the devil as advocate, but I just can't. I just, because again, this would be an extremely high stakes, controversial move in a successful show. This is not a successful show that has been able to maturely churn through problematic aspects of its storytelling. So,
and it's a show that has made this mistake before and should understand that the audience reflexively is going to have a negative reaction.
Right. That's the thing that, like, you can't go into it and I'm trying to, like, okay, well, in a but I can't go into it as a vacuum.
No, definitely not.
So, yeah.
So it's scary to me, and that's why it makes me angry, because it almost seems plausible.
Right.
That they could be doing this, but then all the other factors around it make it so disgusting to me that I start to get angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Over a show I no longer give a shit about. Like, let's be clear.
Yeah. It's like almost like now you're just looking to see, like, when that final 10% will turn.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, is there a segment of the audience that prefers 100% rat shit? Like, maybe. You know what? Everyone talks about rat shit, but say what you want.
They're contrarians, yeah.
Say what you want. I like the mouthfeel of good rat shit. It's not about the taste, y'all. It's about the texture and the consistency. Like, maybe they'll come out of the woodwork and they'll inherit r/The Walking Dead. But I think I'm out on that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Kim G says, does Gimple ever worry that he's made a shitty decision? Could his decision to kill Carl have been the reason Kirkman is no longer an EP? Did they have a falling out over this? Is his ego out of control? Does he resent Kirkman's popularity? Could killing Carl have been a ploy to try to retain Andrew Lincoln, promising him an entirely new story? What does The Walking Dead look like without Rick and Carl? So many questions. None of which I'm qualified to answer, but I thought they were interesting questions.
It honestly looks like a spin-off show. Like I feel like that they've made their own show a fucking spin-off. What do you do about that?
Yeah. I don't know. And she concludes by saying if Carl dies, Gimple didn't just kill Carl, he quite possibly killed the show.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be impossible to erase that at this point.
I don't know. Josh has a good idea here. Tongue embedded firmly in cheek. With Carl dead, what are your thoughts on the possibility of Judith taking his place as the new leader of the apocalypse? She wouldn't have the same history as Carl's character, but it would be interesting to view things through the eyes of a female protagonist born after the events of the zombie apocalypse. This would also allow them to time jump and start fresh with a new cast member, if that's what they're going to do.
I mean, it's the whole they don't have the history, right? Like, yeah. I don't know in what universe throwing away 8 years of characterization and history is a good thing.
In a universe where that characterization has been bad, but I don't know that it's been necessarily that part of the show has not been terrible.
Like I said, I mean, are we having a spoiler section? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'll save most of my comments because again, it'll be me mourning for things I don't think are going to be around. But like, if that's what you want to do, there's other ways to do it without gutting the original premise of the story. Which, again, that's like if you think Kirkman, I don't think The Walking Dead is like the great American novel, okay?
Mm.
But it's a pretty good series of graphic novels. It's a pretty good zombie tale, and it was like very groundbreaking for its time, and it was probably worthy of being made into a big budget show. But what Gimple has done to it is like it's very much like a late 80s video game movie.
Okay.
Like, yeah, you're calling it Mario and Luigi, and that's a Koopa Troopa, but fuck you and everything about this movie.
Yeah.
And that's how I've gotten kind of with the show.
All right, Laura P says, I checked out The Talking Dead after episode 808, mainly to see if Chris Hardwick broke character. Spoiler, he didn't. A few things stood out to me. One, that is Chandler Riggs is going to be on Talking Dead after the mid-season premiere, which is supposedly his last episode ever.
Whoa. Fire.
She says, I wonder if he will go off script and give us any insight into the clusterfuck of the season and then why they wrote him off. No.
I hope he doesn't.
No, don't. I mean, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. They would rather cut to the technical difficulties screen than have Chandler Riggs go on a tirade about how they treated him on The Talking Dead.
And also, that's just that would be very, I mean, this kind of shit is why you got monsters like Harvey Weinstein, let it be known. But in Hollywood, you really don't want a reputation as a young man of being difficult to work with.
Yeah.
And do I think the AMC executives and Gimple are the kind of people that would pettily make sure that is out and that you never work again? Yeah, I do. So for Chandler Riggs, not that I think he has a brilliant career ahead of him. To the extent that he has a career ahead of him, he should shut up, take his check, learn from this, and live well. It's the best revenge. Going out in a blaze of glory doesn't even really feel that good in the moment, and it's not going to get you anywhere in life.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true. Second thing, they showed us some behind-the-scenes clips of filming the explosion scenes. Literally, multiple effects people said, we filmed this in one night. In fact, one repeated it and became emphatic. Now, maybe that's common. I'm not an expert on camera work, but wouldn't The Walking Dead want this to go well and give it as much filming as it needed? Literally, the effects people looked a little terrified that we have one night. Thought that was kind of funny.
I don't know, because that seems like that's certainly the rule rather than the exception. Like, I'm always amazed at how tight the schedules are on these TV shows.
Yeah, and I think especially when it comes to big effect shots, like when you're talking about pyrotechnics blowing up like one-of-a-kind sets or something. you got one shot to get that right.
Right.
And tension is everywhere, from the pyrotechnics to the actors involved. If anybody fucks that scene up, that's kind of just how it appears on screen.
Yeah, and that's why you have to have pros. And that's
Yeah.
why you can't, like, cheap out on it. But
Right. And they do. I mean, their effects department, I think, are fairly professional.
Yeah.
Certainly their makeup department is, but I mean, the effects guys, the actual physical effects, I don't think have ever been truly awful.
no.
You know, they do typical movie stuff like gasoline bombs in cars and things like
Right.
that when we're talking about high explosives and whatever. You got to kind of forgive some of that stuff. They're doing it for the camera, but yeah. All right. Mike B says, oh no, my enjoyment of your podcast surpassed my enjoyment of The Walking Dead quite some time ago. I'm bringing up a potentially sensitive subject. Andrew Lincoln overacts at a Nicolas Cage level. He has done the quivering chihuahua, sweaty-faced, vacant, teary-eyed look of an abject terror for so many lesser situations. What reaction could he possibly have that would be in proportion to this level of heartbreak? Have you seen some of Nicolas Cage's acting? You can definitely always go more over the top.
Yeah, I was going to say, someone hasn't seen Nick Cage losing his shit, which you should Google.
Right. That YouTube video is phenomenal.
Yeah, you're comparing Neil Armstrong to the guy who jumped out of a Red Bull balloon, okay?
Right.
Okay, let's settle down a little bit.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage plans to be in that department the first man on Mars.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, that might be where they're leaning into it, is like the he's going to, the mercy overcoming his wrath is going to be more of like trying to live his life as a tribute to his son that he no longer has to keep safe.
Okay.
That sounds too good for this show.
The reaction to the bite was certainly reserved.
Yeah.
And it might just be the calm before the storm of pure Nicolas Cage
I want to
acting.
see him and Jadis working out their emotions through nude pottery.
God.
I just want to see him just sobbing
Just
behind a pottery
screaming
wheel
and crying
as Jadis is
turning
behind
the
him
pot.
in her rubber apron and just guiding his hands.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Turning a cat.
Yeah, and then they'll do interpretive dance.
All right. Gary says, hey, everyone, a very interesting thought to ponder on. Wouldn't it be funny if they really want to take The Walking Dead in a different direction eventually, and they have an episode where Rick wakes up from his coma after the same amount of years later, and the whole series up to this point was merely him dreaming during his coma. Then shortly after Rick wakes up from his coma, he notices a TV news special report about people getting aggressive and trying to bite each other. And think of how differently they could take things, almost like a whole new series. But some of the people who Rick dreamed about were actually people he knew from his life before his coma. I think this is the first thing Guy Fieri writes when he steps into the writer's room.
Yeah, this feels like
Just got to reboot the whole thing.
What's that? The Tom Cruise movie about tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sounds like Edge of Tomorrow, except for the coma is his, like, oh, I now know everything I need to know about zombies and post-apocalyptic politics to
Right.
succeed. Round 2, ding ding. I don't
Making
know.
none of the same mistakes.
Yeah.
It's just indicative of the full reboot that this thing needs. Chris says, I have no strong opinion on whether or not Carl is going to die or miraculously survive. However, I think if they do try to make Carl the only person immune to the virus, it will be so they have a way to end the show down the line. It's long been established that they cannot do the whole it was a dream thing, even though not even Gimple is that awful. So the only other feasible way for the zombie outbreak to be solved is for them to somehow find a cure. And what better way than to start by experimenting on someone with an immunity? It would be the stupid out of the nowhere Deus Ex Machina, but I'll deal with it if it means the show is coming to an end. I think the show is coming to an end one way or another.
Why do people think that the end has to be a cure of the zombie apocalypse? That seems like a common theme here, and I never thought that. I thought that we would end with the resumption of, like, this is just a new thing that we have to live with. Like, this is, human society discovering that they can get the flu for the first time and it can kill you. I mean, I don't know that you have to cure and to have a return to normalcy.
Yeah, and that larger story being like the resiliency and the adaptability of humanity.
Yeah, like how does it, like, and that's I've talked about this before, but not anytime recently. Like, how would human traditions change, like burial customs and religious customs, and like what impacts, far-reaching impacts would this have on human society, politically, economically, technologically? What are the hidden advantages that you might have by depopulating the Earth by 99% of its population? Like, those are interesting topics to me, which are still not being explored 8 years on.
Yeah,
and were being explored around this point in the comics.
And they seem to have zero interest in exploring that.
Right.
As one of our listeners says, I think D wrote in and said that this is essentially a soap opera, and that these characters have arcs that wrap back in on themselves. They become the good guy, or they don't even have arcs. They become the good guy when necessary and the bad guy when necessary.
So it's very similar to like wrestling.
Sure.
Which, people find fun, and that's cool, but
not me.
Not me.
I'm not interested in wrestling, but
I'll watch The Wrestler. But...
Sure, yeah, because that's a well-written, heartfelt tale about someone who participates in that. All right, final email from the non-spoiler section. Ben T from the UK says, how did we get here? I mean, when you look at the journey that started 8 years ago and where it is today, and you look at yourself and go, I've wasted 8 years on this bullshit. And then we have the problem where you can't look away. It's like witnessing a car accident. You want to look away, but you can't keep your eyes off what is about to happen. That's how I feel about the show now. It's a bloody car wreck. And not just a fender bender, but a big fucking 3-hour tailback of a traffic accident, except instead of 3 hours, it's been 4 years. Imagine if you got paid to watch horrific car wrecks, because that's essentially what Bald Move is at this point. Anyway, rant over and to the real points. If we lived in an alternate universe where AMC didn't control the rights to produce and air this show, how many seasons would be satisfactory to tell this story, and who would be a good showrunner? I find that a hard question to answer because the comics or the graphic novels are still going. I don't know what the actual story is quite yet.
I'll tell, yeah, I mean, I can't answer that without going into the spoiler section because, like, everything, I've been informed by reading the comic books. So, I mean, I do sometimes go back and wonder what this would be like if AMC came back this second season and said, holy shit, look how much money we made. Here is a 13-episode order for double the money that you had for the 6. Instead of coming back and saying, here's 13-episode order, and you get half the money that you got to make 6.
Right.
Because you think about The Green Mile, you think about Shawshank Redemption, you think about, The Mist? That's the one that's got just that fucking wrong ending. Like,
yeah,
Darabont knows really how to work in this creepy kind of horror space, but with a heart that like says something about the human condition, and like what a fucking get that was.
You're right.
And and AMC just fucking shit canned it. So it's like, can't we just give Darabont another take? And like
you could,
and like run it up to All Out War, and then I will explain like where you could potentially, if the show was still a success after, and I think you could have gotten here in 6 seasons, then you've got a spinoff potential that you could do after the All Out War thing is over. But yeah, like it's like better directors. Like what? I mean, we had an insanely talented director who was passionate about the thing and who probably would have taken it to new heights, and we didn't get that because of a what is going to turn out to be a minor quibble with as big as this show got, with as mediocre as it's been.
Yep.
I mean, look at what is Game of Thrones getting like worldwide with piracy? Like 100 million people watching it.
Oh, that sounds like too much, but I don't know.
I think it's like, wasn't it getting like, didn't people say it was like getting 30 million like actual in the HBO ecosystem watches?
Could be.
I mean, I'm just saying like 17 million's cool and all, but it's like kind of like The Social Network. What's cooler than 100 million? What's cooler than 10 million? 100 million? Like,
yeah, and I don't know if you've noticed, no longer at 17 million.
And that's with like, and what if what if Kirkman died during the prison outline? Because that's essentially what the Game of Thrones has done. Like the author just stopped writing the show and stopped writing the books in the middle of the series. So like they're just having to cobble something together. This is all self-inflicted on The Walking Dead,
right?
So yeah.
He also wonders if we think another studio will ever pick up a project like The Walking Dead that will tell a story similar to the one that Darabont started.
Dude, like we this might be, if The Walking Dead gets canceled in a couple of years, this might be my new go-to. What do you think is right for a reboot? Like
a year after it's canceled. I know it sounds ridiculous.
You do it on Cinemax, which already has a working relationship with Kirkman. You give him a sweetheart deal where you bring in, I don't know, you can't probably get Darabont. He doesn't want to touch.
Here's who I want as the showrunner. This is going to be controversial.
Okay.
I want David Simon to come in and do a take on a zombie apocalypse. What would that look like?
It would be.
I know he would tell it from every single angle, right? And it would feel so natural, so matter as a fact, as if it were real time and place.
It would be a super virus as a result of people having unprotected sex with New York sex workers,
right,
while high on WMD.
No, but I can imagine
in the towers, in the project towers. That's how it would start. That's ground zero.
The perspectives that he would bring to it, and sort of the things he would use that to talk about.
I think you're wanting David Simon to do World War Z.
I want David Simon to reverse engineer his own stuff, because he seems to work from like a place of, this is a thing I'm intensely interested in.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to tell the story of that time and place.
Right.
Whereas I think if he could reverse engineer that and say, I want to tell a story of a time and place that doesn't exist.
Right.
I kind of want to see what that looks like.
I don't know. I just don't think that's the thing. Like, I don't think he has any interest, because he
sure.
I mean, maybe if he could like George Romero this into something about, systematic corruption in American politics. Which, yeah, maybe you could.
I mean, there's a lot of stories about humanity to tell here.
Yes.
Let's get Dan Carlin in there as the showrunner.
There you go. He can. See, you're always bringing it back to World War Z. You just want someone to do World War Z right.
I do, goddammit. All right, that's it for the feedback that we had. We do have a spoiler section with several emails.
Yeah.
That we're going to talk about. A lot of people wrote in talking about like what they wanted us to do with the show. I will say that we are considering all options, but we have not made a decision. It's something we're probably going to talk about in January, because that's when we decide all of our content for the upcoming year.
Yeah, it's got to be about our schedule and what we can do that would be more interesting or more fun than The Walking Dead. I mean, or could we transform our coverage of The Walking Dead into something else? Like,
no, the only thing I can guarantee is there will be changes. In one way or another.
Right.
And that doesn't mean canceling the show necessarily, although it doesn't mean not canceling the show.
Right.
There will be changes. We will not be doing like full recap, traditional podcast for this thing.
Like, if nothing else, the word Carl will appear in our podcast probably 90% less in the next season.
The word Carl?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, unless we're just saying, reminiscing. Right? Like, remember the old days when Carl was alive?
Right. But I'd probably say Coral in that case, and it wouldn't actually be Carl. But, yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, people have said, like, oh, you should keep doing the live watches. We might do that. Or you guys should just go back and do something more silly or skit-based. And we might. I just don't know. It's just, I just, I like for this to be fun. I like for it to, and if I can have fun tearing apart the show, it's great. But I mean, and the other thing is, like, it's increasingly hard to make the entire fan base happy, because I've gotten a lot of feedback where they don't like, some people like nothing more than 2 hours of us bitching and moaning and ripping the show. Some people can't take more than 5 minutes of that. And like, I just, for the first time, I don't think there's a way to modify it that everyone's going to be happy with.
Yeah.
But, again, real villains here, AMC Studios. So we're just trying. You don't know what it's like out there. we're just trying to survive.
Yeah, we will adapt.
We find a new show, we claim it.
And I don't know what form that's going to take, but I guess stay tuned on the feed. There probably will be an announcement, or, if we decide to do the same old thing, we'll come back in February. But yeah, stay tuned on this feed. Stay subscribed, or if you're not subscribed already, get subscribed, and you'll have some updates coming into the new year.
All right.
Let's get to the spoiler section. For everybody who is not joining us for spoilers, why not? Do you really care that much about what you're about to hear? and B, I guess we'll see you on the other side, whatever form that takes. So until then, I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron.
And we're back with the spoiler section. I got some emails that will probably springboard into conversations you want to talk about. So,
I mean, so my big idea would I thought it'd been, I really think it'd be awesome for Darabont to have had free hand to tell a 6 or 7 season arc that gets us to All Out War, and then you could have taken a break there and retooled it and come back with the spinoff, which is the Carl show, where you bring back maybe you got to bring back Negan, because that's the thing. Post prison, it's about the relationship that forms between this Charles Manson-esque figure of Negan in a cell and an impressionable Carl, and kind of the war for his soul, and what does a post-apocalyptic leader, what does the John Connors of this universe look like? What does he need to look like? And I think that would be a fascinating show that you could tell, and then you could kind of maybe even go completely away from the comic book, but just have. And the thing is it's not like Darabont stuck right to the comics. We had the Vatos, and we had the CDC plotline. So
Daryl Dixon. They
had the Daryl Dixon. There was already quite a bit of remixing. And that's the thing. Maybe that would have been its own problem, but we just never got to see the show long enough. And also, I wonder how much of that remixing was at the behest of the AMC, where they're like, "Oh, well, can you do this or can you do that?" And I don't want to get too far ahead. I just don't know. But my idea would then 6 or 7 episodes, very streamlined, all the bullshit we complain about out. Just tell the story, get to All Out War, and then Frank goes away and gets his Emmys, and Andrew Lincoln gets a few, and we go on. The other thing I wanted to say that I didn't get to say last week because it was maybe it was too soon to speak ill of the dead. But Jason, famous nice guy Jason Kabisi, or is it Kabisi? Jason C.
Yeah.
I'm famously bad at pronouncing last names, and Jason, you kind of got a doozy. It's just all a bunch of random I's and S's and C's in my head. I don't know that Chandler Riggs could tell that story. I don't know if he had the tools to tell. Because, at his best, he's okay.
I agree with that, unfortunately.
So, now, I don't believe for a second that the show made that decision based on that.
Yeah.
But, I could see a better run show where I trusted their competency, just being I don't think this guy can carry the material. We're going to have to kill him off and do something different. It's a real bummer, but he's just not going to be able to do it.
I mean, I feel like they had a valid out with the flash forward, though. And maybe they're not going to do the flash forward. I have no idea. But if they wanted to get him out, like one of our emailers said.
But that's the thing. Is I feel like that the flash forward should have been the point they should have been looking forward to, reset everybody. Because you just can't. You can't keep Andrew Lincoln. No. You can't keep Norman Reedus. You can't keep Lenny James under contract for 10 plus years. Laura Cohen, you just can't. So you should have I wonder if the fact that you failed to plan for that is also a creative failure.
I'm starting to wonder if they've rethought the idea of doing a flash forward, because think about what that does, how disruptive that would be to the current fan base. I think if you go in and you say, okay, well, we can't get Andrew Lincoln back, and we probably can't afford to get Norman Reedus back, and we can't use Chandler Riggs for whatever reason, how disruptive would that be to an already shrinking audience, to an already 50% drop in audience?
It could also be
if you just said, fuck it, we're going to get rid of everybody that you already love, and we're going to bring them back as different actors.
I mean, there's precedent for that. That's part of the marketing that you'd have to be well, this is like Star Trek. This is like James Bond. Characters survive in a way that people can't, because they don't age in real time. I
understand that, but think about the audience that is currently invested in this show.
No, that's what I'm saying. It would be...
They're not invested for the narrative reasons and things like that. They're invested for their love of these characters, right? Mm-hmm. And if you completely change the faces of those characters and the personalities,
it's a challenge for sure. It's a challenge for sure. But
right, to an already shrinking audience. I wonder if they're even going to do the flash forward.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, no, I don't think they will. No, I'm because this is part of weeping for the show. It won't be like, why would they? There's nothing but downsides in doing a flash forward now.
Right. I don't know, man.
But like that's the thing. Like, who is Negan? Like, to me, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is with a bullet point the death of the show that we were watching. It's a completely different. It's not an adaptation of The Walking Dead. It's inspired by the comic book The Walking Dead, because that storyline is gone. Like, were they going to have Enid creep down into Negan's cell?
That's our first email. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan essentially asked that, like, where do they go now? With no more Carl, are they going to try and replace him with Enid?
And Jeffrey Dean Morgan going to be a featured cast when he gets to spend 15 minutes from a cell every half season? Like,
right?
I just there was no real thought, because that's the thing. Like, I always thought, like, how are they going to bring this back to a place where they can tell the story? And for the first time, I've been slapped in the face. No, they're just not going to. They don't care. They're not planning this even next year out, let alone multiple years out.
Right.
And you're right. There probably won't be a fast forward, because that would be, for the people still watching the show, that would be another excuse to stop watching.
Right. And they've already got enough excuses for that. So let's go to the emails. Ryan, I talked about Jordan N's email a little bit, but Ryan says, I'm seeing some theories that Carl wasn't bitten by a walker, but was bit by a whisperer, which, for the spoiler people, they're a band of people who hides amongst the walkers wearing walker skin.
This is where this is right where I dipped out. So I know about the whispers, but I don't know how it eventually evolved.
Okay. And maybe this is their introduction into the show. A couple of things I don't like about it. Chandler Riggs already confirmed Carl's death and has even said there's no coming back from it unless he's lying. And B, in the comics, the whisperers don't bite people. They stab them to death. Just wanted to get your thoughts on this theory. Yeah, I mean, those guys
that were attacking looked like zombies.
Also, Carl looks very, very sick in that final shot.
He does.
Not like he was bit by some weird person wearing walker skin.
It's the opposite of placebo. It's a gazebo. It's when you take something you think is going to kill you, and your body starts saying, "Oh my God, it's over, it's over."
The gazebo
effect.
It's
the gazebo effect. Yeah.
Right.
You get bit by a fake zombie, and suddenly you start sweating and looking pale. And
yep. So John W. from Toledo has another...
but that's the thing. Like, I feel like you're falling into the trap of thinking this is a better show.
Sure.
Like, you're thinking what a better show would do, what clever way to introduce these things, and you're playing chess, but unfortunately the rules of the game are still governed by the International Checkers Society.
Yeah, I remember... I don't know. I mean, the way they introduced, like, the wolves, right? They kind of, sort of did some stuff like that.
Yeah, and who can forget how
right,
riveting the wolf storyline was.
Right, with all the morgalizing and whatnot. Okay, John W. from Toledo says, hey, I've read a synopsis of all the comics, and says the future of the TV show is done since Gimple decided to kill off Carl. He's currently still a prominent member of the community, but do you think now that Carl is gone in the TV show that Kirkman will kill him off in the comic?
Why?
Gimple claims that people are going to take over Carl's plot in the TV show, and I cannot seem to understand how that could possibly happen. I think this is John trying to desperately scramble for some world in which this makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. And I don't think it's going to happen, man.
The other thing that he brought up that was more interesting, in my opinion, is also, he says, the group we're about to encounter are named the Commonwealth, and they look like stormtroopers based on the cover of issue 175. It's rumored that they are way more technologically advanced than everybody else, and that is who I'm speculating has the helicopter that we continue to see throughout the TV show. I don't know anything about the Commonwealth. Do you?
Was that in the video game?
I don't know. What you mean?
Were those the guys that had the
Telltale
76
games, or
like branded on them? Maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
not sure if that has anything to do with the Walking Dead story in general.
Yeah, no, I don't either. And again, I don't recognize that plot, so I wouldn't have much to say.
Okay.
I guess now that's the other good thing is I can finally catch up on The Walking Dead to see if the comic book is still entertaining.
Yeah.
I've been putting that off because it's like keeping up with The Walking Dead was doing nothing good for my enjoyment of the show.
Right. But that's about all we got as far as spoilers go. We had another one from Tyler M, but he's talking about the Whispers, which we kind of already went over.
Okay.
So thanks to everybody who sent in emails. That I got a shitload. I got hundreds. I stopped, I had like 40 pages of emails.
I hope we're not doing our own little Glenn dumpster fire. Like this will we won't we is purely because like January is when we do all of our kind of like creative decisions for the new year, and
right.
It really does depend on what the competition is and what's going on at the schedule. And
the difference here being we've kept you informed of the entire process. Like,
yeah,
we're not trying to hide the fact that our show is still alive under the covers here, under the dumpster.
Right.
There's no Glenn dumpster here to be had. It's simply a matter of we don't know what we're going to do yet.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a real, you know, it's that's the thing is like, and our hands aren't being forced. It's like I don't want to like it's I always struggle with choices. Mm-hmm. You know, like there's no
independence has its benefits and drawbacks.
Yeah, like I'm used to getting forced to do things. Like Amazon cancels our sub membership or like our thing, so we have to do this. Or like this is just purely like the show is calling our bluff and getting to a level of quality where it seems like we should stop.
Right.
But half the fans want us to, and half the fans don't, and it's still making decent. Like they're selling ads on it. Like it's very, very confusing and complicated.
Yeah, and it's genuinely up in the air for us. We're not sure what we're doing yet.
Yep. But sorry, we can't give you any more to go to than that. But we will be back next year with lots of great shows. Mm-hmm. Lots of unambiguously great shows. Better Call Saul's coming back. Westworld's coming back.
Yep.
There are tons of shows that I'm genuinely excited about. Mr. Robot just concluded. I mean, talking about a show that writes the ship. Like season 2 is really shaky, and Jim and I were thinking like, oh man, we really might not have room for it on our schedule. We decided to cover it, and season 3 is one of the best comeback seasons of all time. Mm-hmm. And is going to probably be top 3, top 4 on my Baldies list, which, by the way, is another thing we're coming back with. So there's lots of stuff that we're doing, lots of movies we're watching, lots of stuff. If you only know us for our Walking Dead coverage, please, oh my God, please, go to baldmove.com and check out literally anything else that we're doing.
Everything else we actually enjoy watching. So.
Yeah, this is us. This is the equivalent of us biting the heads off of chickens.
Yeah.
This is just a circus sideshow act at this point. Don't judge us. Because we're bizarrely paid to bite heads off chickens. It's not our fault. Baldmove.com.
Yep. I think that's it. We'll see you guys when we see you.
We'll see you when and where we see you. Later.